Did you stand outside the door rehearsing that?
No, it came easily because it's true.
Ever wondered which Hollywood stars had the eeriest smoking habits? Get ready for a shocking ride as we uncover the dark secrets of 35 celebrities who smoked their way to fame and sometimes to their untimely end.
What's your name, son?
11. Number 35, Lee Marvin. Can you imagine smoking 6 packs of cigarettes a day? Lee Marvin could. Marvin, a mainstay of cinema and television throughout the 1950s and 60s, was known for his portrayal of villains and tough guys, making him a recognizable figure in every role he played. His notable roles included Charlie Strom in The Killers, 1964, Rico Farden in The Professionals, 1966, Major John Reisman in The Dirty Dozen, 1967, Ben Rumson in Paint Your Wagon, 1969, Walker in Point Blank, 1967, and the Sergeant in The Big Red One, 1980. Beyond his on-screen persona, Marvin's off-screen life was marked by heavy smoking and drinking, habits that deeply affected both his personal and professional life. Known to smoke up to 6 packs a day, Marvin was often found drunk, and his reputation for drunk driving was infamous. However, his celebrity status often got him out of trouble, as he would sign autographs for the officers who pulled him over. Despite his rugged and tough exterior, Marvin's life was a testament to the damaging effects of smoking and alcohol.
I reckon it would.
But I forgave him, and it's been all right ever since.
Number 34, James Dean. Can you picture a Hollywood heartthrob whose cigarette defined a generation's cool? Enter James Dean. The epitome of youthful rebellion, Dean wasn't just a heartthrob. He was a symbol of a nonchalant attitude that captivated audiences. Often seen with a cigarette dangling from his lips, he set a standard for what it meant to be effortlessly cool. Dean's career, though tragically short, was nothing short of iconic. He acted in a few television shows, but his lasting legacy comes from his roles in 3 feature films: Rebel Without a Cause in 1955, East of Eden 1955, and Giant 1956. In Rebel Without a Cause, Dean's portrayal of the troubled Jim Stark, cigarette in hand, became an enduring image of teen angst and defiance. Tragically, Dean's life was cut short in a car crash at just 24, but his legacy and that iconic image of him with a cigarette lives on.
No, the Emancipation Proclamation wasn't issued till nearly 2 years after the war started.
2 years?
Number 33, Fred MacMurray. Could the most underrated actor of his generation have a dark, smoky secret? Fred MacMurray, known for his diverse roles, indeed had one. Although his early work was often dismissed, no other actor of the 40s and 50s could match his success when cast against type. MacMurray's standout role came in the 1944 film noir Double Indemnity, directed by Billy Wilder, where he starred alongside Barbara Stanwyck. This performance cemented his place in Hollywood history. Later, he became even more beloved as Steve Douglas, the widowed patriarch on the long-running TV series My Three Sons, which aired on ABC from 1960. However, behind the scenes, MacMurray was a lifelong heavy smoker. His smoking habit led to throat cancer and emphysema, both contributing factors to his eventual death.
You really should give up the profession entirely, as a matter of principle.
Number 32, Richard Boone. Can you imagine the gravelly voice of Paladin without a cigarette? Richard Boone, best known for his role as Paladin in Have Gun Will Travel, was a celebrated actor whose on-screen presence captivated audiences. However, behind that rugged exterior lay a heavy smoking habit that would ultimately cost him his life. Boone's career spanned television and film, but it was his portrayal of the enigmatic gun-for-hire Paladin that made him a household name. His deep voice and imposing presence were trademarks, often seen with a cigarette in hand both on and off the screen. Tragically, Boone's long-term smoking habit caught up with him. He passed away on January 10, 1981, at the age of 63, with his death directly linked to his years of heavy smoking.
This your girl?
I'm my mother's girl.
Ha, ha. That's a hot one.
Number 31, Barbara Stanwyck. Can you believe she started smoking at just 9 years old? Barbara Stanwyck, the legendary actress who appeared in more than 80 films, was a formidable force both on and off the screen. Known for her strong-willed characters, Stanwyck's notable movies included Stella Dallas and the film noir classic Double Indemnity, where she defined the femme fatale archetype. Her talent also shone on television, earning her Emmys for The Big Valley and The Barbara Stanwyck Show. In 1981, she received an Honorary Academy Award a testament to her enduring impact on Hollywood. However, Stanwyck's life behind the scenes was marred by her smoking habit. In 1982, while filming The Thornbirds, she inhaled special effects smoke leading to bronchitis, which was compounded by her lifelong cigarette addiction. Starting at the tender age of 9, she only quit smoking 4 years before her death. On January 20th, 1990, Stanwyck passed away at the age of 82 from congestive heart failure and chronic obstructive pulmonary disease.
What was that?
Number 30, Al Pacino. Can you imagine smoking 4 packs a day? Al Pacino, best known for his intense, explosive acting style, starred in legendary movies like The Godfather series, Serpico, and Dog Day Afternoon. Pacino started drinking and smoking at the age of 14 and would go on to become one of the most famous smokers on the planet. While filming Scent of a Woman in 1992, Pacino reportedly smoked with his co-stars off set but refused to cut or light anyone's cigars because he remained in character as a blind war veteran. He stopped a 2-pack-a-day smoking habit to protect his voice in 1994. In the mid-1980s, he had been smoking 4 packs of cigarettes a day. He now only occasionally smokes herbal cigarettes.
Who else knew where he was?
What?
Who else knew where he was?
Number 29, Steve McQueen. The King of Cool had a deadly secret. Nicknamed the King of Cool, Steve McQueen developed his anti-hero persona at the height of the Vietnam counterculture, making him one of the top box office draws of the 1960s and 70s. McQueen received an Academy Award nomination for his role in The Sand Pebbles, the blue-collar, man-of-action star of such films as Bullet, The Great Escape, and The Magnificent Seven. McQueen starred on television in Wanted Dead or Alive. McQueen, a 2-pack-a-day smoker, got mesothelioma in 1980. He died during surgery to remove a tumor on his right lung. He was 50.
You won 40 grand on the Harry Greb fight. You've been cleaning up in the
Number
market.
28, Clark Gable. Can you picture the king of Hollywood himself succumbing to a vice that would ultimately help claim his life? Clark Gable, with his undeniable charm and rugged masculinity, was a cinematic legend who dominated screens with roles in Gone with the Wind in 1939 as the unforgettable Rhett Butler, Mutiny on the Bounty in 1935, and It Happened One Night 1934, which won him an Oscar. Gable's on-screen charisma made him an icon, the very embodiment of Hollywood's golden age. Yet, behind that debonair image was a relentless smoking habit that would eventually cost him dearly. Gable was known to smoke several packs a day, often lighting up between takes on set. His gravelly voice and signature tough guy image were, in part, shaped by his smoking habit, which he was rarely seen without. But it wasn't just cigarettes. Gable was also known for his love of whiskey, and together, these vices left a lasting mark on his health. By the time he was filming The Misfits in 1961, his final role alongside Marilyn Monroe, Gable's health was visibly deteriorating. Only days after wrapping up the film, Gable suffered a massive heart attack. Though he survived initially, his body couldn't recover from years of heavy smoking and drinking, and he passed away on November 16, 1960, at the age of 59.
Well, maybe you think you're going to get a better offer for him today.
Number 27, John Wayne. Hollywood's ultimate tough guy couldn't escape smoking's grip. Marion Robert Morrison was a prop boy at Fox Studios in Hollywood. When stuntmen refused to jump in the ocean for one scene, director John Ford asked Morrison if he'd fill in. Though best known for his westerns, his films also include World War II epics, police dramas, and even romantic comedies. A few of his best-known movies include Red River, The Searchers, The Alamo, in which he produced, directed, and starred, McClintock, The Green Berets, and True Grit, for which he won an Oscar in 1969. He made more than 200 films. A heavy smoker, Wayne had most of his left lung removed in 1964 and died of complications from stomach cancer 15 years later. He was 72. Number 26, Lon Chaney Sr. The man with 1,000 faces had one deadly vice. He made his debut at the movies in 1912, and his filmography is vast. Lon Chaney was especially famous for his horror parts in movies like Quasimodo in The Hunchback of Notre Dame in 1923. Due to his special makeup effects, he carried the characterization to be the man with 1,000 faces. He only filmed one movie with sound, the remake of one of his earlier films, The Unholy Three, in 1930. His son, Lon Chaney Jr., became a famous actor in the horror genre. For many years, the cause of the lung cancer that brought about his death at age 47 was thought to have been a piece of artificial snow made out of crushed gypsum that lodged in his throat during the filming of Thunder in 1929, his last silent film. However, Chaney biographer and scholar Michael Blake points out that the most likely cause was the fact that Chaney was a heavy smoker, and that the piece of artificial snow merely hastened the inevitable.
I'm Maria. Will you play with me?
Number 25. Boris Karloff. Frankenstein's monster met a real-life horror. His portrayal of Frankenstein's monster in the horror film Frankenstein, 1931, his 82nd film, established him as a horror icon, and he reprised the role for the sequels Bride of Frankenstein in 1935 and Son of Frankenstein in 1939. He also appeared as Imhotep in The Mummy in 1932 and voiced the Grinch in, as well as narrating, the animated television special of Dr. Seuss's How the Grinch Stole Christmas in 1966, which won him a Grammy Award. A longtime heavy smoker, he had emphysema, which left him with only half of one lung still functioning. He contracted bronchitis in late 1968 and was hospitalized at University College Hospital. He died of pneumonia at King Edward VII Hospital, Midhurst in Sussex on February 2, 1969, at the age of 81.
What are you doing?
Number 24. Vincent Price. Horror legends succumb to a real nightmare. Price, best known for his roles in horror and thriller movies, made a famous cameo appearance in Michael Jackson's Thriller video. His role in the 1953 film House of Wax cemented his reputation as a villain. Price died in 1993 after a long battle with lung cancer. He was 82.
I love a New Yorker. Bold breeze.
Number 23. Betty Grable. America's sweetheart with his hidden smoking habit. With her girl next door looks, Grable was one of the most successful actresses of Hollywood's golden era, at one time holding the title of the highest paid woman in the United States. Her films include Moon Over Miami, Sweet Rosie O'Grady, Diamond Horseshoe, The Dolly Sisters, and Mother Wore Tights made her popular at home as well. In 1943, Grable posed for her famous pinup photo, which made her the top pinup girl for GIs fighting in World War II. Born in St. Louis in 1916, she was the #1 female box office earner between 1942 and 1951. A lifelong heavy smoker, Grable was diagnosed with lung cancer in 1972 and died a year later.
Was it you who kissed me?
You're talking. You're alive.
Well, of
Number
course
22. Ava Gardner. Beauty couldn't shield her from smoking's toll. Some would say she was the most beautiful creature God had ever created. Even as a teenager, so sophisticated were her looks that in film, she would portray duchesses, baronesses, and gentry opposite the greatest leading men of the day as Guinevere in Knights of the Round Table in 1953 opposite Robert Taylor, Venus, the Goddess of Love in One Touch of Venus, 1948 opposite Robert Walker, Pandora in Pandora and the Flying Dutchman, 1951 opposite James Mason, and as Maria Vargas in The Barefoot Contessa, 1954 opposite Humphrey Bogart. Ava had a stroke in 1986, which left her paralyzed down much of her left side and severely weakened her. She had smoked for decades and could not go far without an oxygen tank. In her poor health, Ava passed away in her sleep due to complications from bronchial pneumonia. Number 21. Moe Howard. The leader of the Three Stooges had a grim end. Moe Howard was the leader of the Three Stooges with the bowl haircut. Moe Howard and his two brothers, Shemp and Curly, entertained generations of audiences with their unique brand of slapstick humor. He appeared in close to 200 comedy shorts, 25 feature films, and thousands of television, onstage, and personal appearances. Born Moses Harry Horowitz, Howard outlived the other Stooges but died of lung cancer in 1975 at the age of 78.
Annie.
Number 20. Peter O'Toole, a Hollywood legend who couldn't quit smoking. His first major film role was one of his most acclaimed, the title character of Lawrence of Arabia, which earned him his first 8 Academy Award nominations. Gastric cancer nearly ended the English actor's life at the height of his career in the 1970s, but he survived and went on to perform in movies and theater for 4 more decades, until shortly before his death in 2013 at age 81. O'Toole gave up drinking in 1975 after suffering serious health problems. He did not, however, give up smoking unfiltered Galoises cigarettes in an ebony holder. That and his penchant for green socks Voluminous overcoats and traveling scarves lent him a rakish air.
Yes. And then I'm going to sneak out and meet you at the depot at noon.
And stay out of sight. Now, I'll be there with
Number
the tickets.
19, Amanda Blake. Gunsmoke's Miss Kitty faced a real-life showdown. She was still in her teens when she debuted in MGM's Stars in My Crown 1950, and her first television role was in Double Exposure in 1952. Her most famous role, however, came in 1955, when she starred in the classic Western series Gunsmoke in 1955 as Miss Kitty Russell, the feisty madam and proprietor of Dodge City's Long Branch Saloon, opposite James Arnezz's Marshal Matt Dillon. Amanda Blake, the Miss Kitty on Gunsmoke, had developed cancer of her tongue at 48 years of age. She was operated on, relearned to speak, and widely toured for the American Cancer Society, spreading the message of no smoking very loud and clear. She fought with cancer for about 12 years and died at 60 years of age.
Sugar?
I think I'll have whiskey.
Number 18, Walt Disney. The man behind the magic had a deadly vice. The animator, film producer, and visionary behind some of the most beloved animated films of all time is another one on our list of famous smokers who died because of nicotine addiction. Officially, Disney's cause of death was acute circulatory collapse resulting from lung cancer, which was linked to his smoking habit. Disney was a heavy smoker, and his addiction likely played a role in the development of his illness.
Help me. What? I got a
Number
truck
17,
load.
Jim Varney. Ernest P. Worrell had a final message for fans. He's best known for his comedic role as Ernest P. Worrell, for which he won a Daytime Emmy Award, as well as appearing in films and numerous television commercial advertising campaigns. Jim Varney, the famous actor who died of lung cancer at age 50, was hopelessly hooked on cigarettes, but he wouldn't allow himself to be photographed smoking for the sake of all the kids who loved Ernest. And though he entertained them by clowning, sprawling, grinning, and cutting up, the talented Mr. Varney had one last message for those kids: don't smoke. Number 16, Alfred Hitchcock. The master of suspense couldn't quit his addiction. Sir Alfred Joseph Hitchcock, KBE, was an English film director. He is widely regarded as one of the most influential figures in the history of cinema. In a career spanning 6 decades, he directed over 50 feature films, many of which are still widely watched and studied today. Hitchcock smoked all his adult life and constantly while directing his more than 50 films. He made cameo appearances in 37 of his movies, at least once seen puffing a cigar in 1947's The Paradise Case. Often, he would not face the camera, but his bald scalp gave him away. Frequently, he carried a musical instrument. Number 15, Gloria Graham. The femme fatale's real-life battle. She won an Academy Award for her supporting role in 1952's The Bad and the Beautiful, and she played memorable characters in It's a Wonderful Life and Oklahoma. But Graham is best known as a sultry femme fatale from film noirs of the 1950s. In March 1974, Graham was diagnosed with breast cancer. She underwent radiation treatment, changed her diet, stopped smoking and drinking alcohol, and sought homeopathic remedy. In less than a year, the cancer went into remission, but returned in 1980. She was 57 when stomach cancer took her life in 1981.
Well, when I first heard the demo, it was written by 2 guys in England, and it was a great song.
Number 14, Eddie Money. Rock stars battle with a deadly disease. This rock star of 2 Tickets to Paradise fame learned he had esophageal cancer after a routine checkup. The disease was already at stage 4, the most advanced, and it spread to his lymph nodes and liver. Money died in September 2019, just a few weeks after he went public with his disease. He was 70. On August 24, 2019, Money, a longtime smoker, revealed that he had been diagnosed with stage 4 esophageal cancer. He died from the disease at his home in Los Angeles on September 13, 2019, at age 70. The family statement read in part, "It is with heavy hearts that we say goodbye to our loving husband and father."
Why, of course I am. You know that.
Can you hit the bullseye?
I don't know if I can hit the bullseye.
Number 13, Chuck Connors. The rifleman's real-life struggle with smoking. Connors played basketball for the Boston Celtics and baseball for the Brooklyn Dodgers. He's best known for his television role as rifle-toting Lucas McCain in The Rifleman from 1958 to 1963. He appeared in more than 45 films and television shows, including a memorable role in the miniseries Roots. Connors started smoking in 1940. For many years, he smoked 3 packs of Camel cigarettes a day until he quit the habit in the mid-70s, though he occasionally resumed smoking afterward. He died of lung cancer at age 71 in 1992.
Phased into our own characterizations, and it really became Wilma and...
Number 12, Jean Vanderpill. The voice behind Wilma Flintstone had a hidden habit. Jean Vanderpill, who acted in the famous cartoon series Flintstones, was also a heavy smoker. Vanderpill died of lung cancer in 1999 at the age of 79. Jean Vanderpill was an American actress and voice actress who also voiced Baby Pebbles. She's also remembered for her role of Rosie, the robot maid from The Jetsons, starring Dawes Butler and Janet Waldo.
Thank you very much.
Number 11, Andy Kaufman, a comedic genius with a tragic end. Television viewers first noticed Kaufman's comedic genius when he landed the role of an immigrant auto mechanic on Taxi. Kaufman's stand-up routine was anything but conventional. He played bongos, lip-synced to children's records, and taunted women wrestlers. Despite a healthy lifestyle, Kaufman got lung cancer in January of 1984 and died 4 months later.
In Panama. Now, don't get excited. The reason for that is that he was born of deaf-mute parents.
Number 10, Lon Chaney Jr., the son of a legend with a deadly vice. He was best known for his roles in monster movies and as the son of famous silent film actor Lon Chaney. He's notable for portraying Lenny Small in Of Mice and Men and Larry Talbot in the Wolfman movies. In later years, he battled throat cancer and chronic heart disease, among other ailments, after decades of heavy drinking and smoking. In his final horror film, Dracula vs. Frankenstein in 1971, directed by Al Adamson, he played Groton, Dr. Frankenstein's mute henchman. He filmed his part in the spring of 1969, and shortly thereafter filmed his final film role, also for Adamson, in The Female Bunch. Due to illness, he retired from acting to concentrate on a book about the Chaney family legacy, A Century of Cheneys, which remains to date unpublished in any form. His grandson, Ron Chaney, was working on completing this project.
You're going to be evicted onto a trash heap.
Number 9, Larry Hagman. Dallas's J.R. Ewing faced a real-life battle. The world knows him as J.R. Ewing, the star who made Dallas into a global hit and changed television history. In 2011, Hagman learned he had throat cancer, but the illness hardly seemed to faze him. Years earlier, he had already faced possible death before his liver transplant. Hagman signed up for 6 weeks of radiation and chemotherapy to treat his throat tumor. On the way to the hospital, he made time to wrap up shooting for a remake of Dallas. Hagman died a year later at age 81. Hagman was introduced to marijuana by Jack Nicholson after a safer alternative to Hagman's heavy drinking. I liked it because it was fun, it made me feel good, and I never had a hangover. Although Hagman was a member of a 12-step program, he publicly advocated marijuana as a better alternative to alcohol. He was also a heavy smoker as a young man before quitting at age 34. He was the chairman of the American Cancer Society's annual Great American Smokeout for many years, and also worked on behalf of the National Kidney Foundation. Number 8, Orson Welles, a cinematic genius with a smoky secret. Orson Welles was born in 1915 in Kenosha, Wisconsin, but moved to Chicago at a young age. The budding genius had lost both his parents by age 15, so he opted out of college, choosing to tour Europe instead. No one knows when Welles began smoking, but he started acting young. When he was in Ireland, he tried convincing the manager at the Gate Theatre that he was a Broadway star. Although the manager likely didn't believe the teenager, Welles began acting in minor roles at the Gate. When he was just 25 years old, Welles conceived, wrote, and directed Citizen Kane in 1941, considered by many cineastas to be the finest and most innovative American film ever made. The larger-than-life cinema icon, who went on to produce 4 more masterpieces, was at turns reviled and revered by his peers. Welles was a lover of the good life, especially fine cigars. He intentionally wrote cigar-smoking characters, such as Touch of Evil's police captain Hank Quinlan, into his films.
That's rather up to Stephen, don't you think?
Completely.
So
Number 7, Joan Crawford, a glamour queen with a dark addiction. Many stars of the silence saw their careers evaporate, either because their voices weren't particularly pleasant or because their voices, pleasing enough, didn't match the public's expectations. For example, Some fans felt that John Gilbert's tenor didn't quite match his very masculine persona, but Crawford wasn't failed by sound. Her first talkie, Untamed, 1929, was a success. As the 1930s progressed, Crawford became one of the biggest stars at MGM. She was in top form in films such as Grand Hotel, 1932, Sadie McKee, 1934, No More Ladies, 1935, and Love on the Run, 1936. Movie patrons were enthralled, and studio executives were satisfied. Joan Crawford died of pancreatic cancer on May 10, 1977, age 72. She employed smoking as a gesture of glamour. Reputed, Joan would never smoke a cigarette unless she opened the pack herself.
Slaves against me. I've been his father.
Ambition knows no
Number
father.
6, Yul Brynner, the king of Siam with a dire warning. Legendary actor, famous for his portrayal of the King of Siam in The King and I, was also one of the many actors that smoked cigarettes during the 1980s. Brynner died on October 10, 1985, at the age of 65 from lung cancer. Brynner started smoking at the age of 12 and was known to have smoked as many as 5 packs a day. After he had been diagnosed with lung cancer, he said that his wish was to film a commercial that said, "Now that I'm gone, I tell you don't smoke. Whatever you do, just don't smoke." Fortunately, 1 year after he died, his wish came true.
You've been cooking at this hour?
Just cleaning up.
Number 5, Marlene Dietrich, a sultry star with a smoky allure. The German-American actress and singer possessed an alluring aura, enhanced by her sultry cigarette holder, which she skillfully incorporated into her performances. Notably, her most famous movie, The Blue Angel.
Oh, look, there's a place.
Number 4, Lana Turner, a screen siren with a deadly habit. Julia Jean Lana Turner was an American actress. Over a career spanning nearly 5 decades, she achieved fame as both a pinup model and a film actress, as well as for her highly publicized personal life. Lana Turner had an acting ability that belied the sweeter girl image MGM thrust upon her, and even many of her directors admitted that they knew she was capable of greatness. Check out The Postman Always Rings Twice in 1946. Fortunately, her private life sometimes overshadowed her professional accomplishments. A sore throat sent this sultry Hollywood icon to the doctor in 1992. It led to surgery for a small cancer in her throat. Turner had used alcohol and cigarettes heavily. She had radiation therapy, eventually quit smoking, and her cancer went into remission. Turner died 3 years later at age 75, reportedly of natural causes.
You've got Margot mixed up with a 5 and 10 cent store.
Make it
Number 3, Betty Davis, an icon who couldn't put down the cigarette. Betty Davis must have a cigarette, for without a smoke, she cannot entirely be Betty Davis. The iconic image is incomplete, like a bareheaded Gloria Swanson, or an unarmed John Wayne, or a clean-shaven Bogart. In her elegant 4th-floor apartment just off Sunset Boulevard in West Hollywood, Miss Davis, she prefers the courtesy title, chain smokes Vantage filters and, with stubborn ferocity, grinds her butts into the ashtray. Once snuffed by Miss Davis, those crooked stubs would not dare to continue smoldering. Number 2, Lauren Bacall, Hollywood's sultry star with a smoky allure. The first line Lauren Bacall uttered in her first movie, To Have and Have Not, was, "Have you got a match?" It was very effective. It made an impression at the time. Ms. Bacall said yesterday, even as she tried to make a different kind of impression regarding smoking. Ms. Bacall was asked after her talk why she had started smoking. "Betty Davis was my heroine," she said. "She used cigarettes so dramatically, and I wanted to be like her." Humphrey Bogart, Miss Bacall's first husband, died of lung cancer in 1957, but even that did not dissuade her from smoking. "I never saw him without a cigarette," she said. "You would think after having lived with him during the final year of his life that I would have stopped. His doctors told me to, and I couldn't." She did make several valiant efforts over the years, including attending smoke enders with Leonard Bernstein and Patrick O'Neill. They stopped for 20 minutes, she said, noting that Mr. Bernstein's wife, Felicia, was one of several of her close friends and relatives to die as a result of smoking.
Yeah? Boss, ain't you going to bed? Not right now. Ain't you planning on going to bed?
Humphrey Bogart, the ultimate film noir icon's tragic end. The iconic Hollywood actor, renowned for his roles in classic films like Casablanca and The Maltese Falcon, met a tragic end in his battle with esophageal cancer. On January 14, 1957, Bogart passed away at the age of 57. Bogart was a prominent figure in Hollywood's golden age, and among the many celebrities smoking at the time. He was often seen with a cigarette in his hand both on and off the screen, a habit that likely contributed to his unfortunate demise. Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed this video, hit the like button and subscribe for more fascinating Hollywood stories. Check out our other videos for more shocking tales from the golden age of cinema. See you next time.